I would say also too that for me feels like it'd be a good way for men to vet women because I guarantee it's going to feel the most natural with someone that you really care about and you're really into
Right.
when you are trying to romance these women.
sure,
Like
yeah.
it'll come more naturally and that's probably the woman you should focus on. Like you said, it's about the guy wanting to do things he doesn't do for other women for this one woman.
Right.
So if you feel that as a man, that's a good sign. You
Right.
should probably pursue that woman.
Exactly.
And, you know, fulfill some of the, you know, romantic things that you have in your mind. Like, and that's a reality. Like, there's plenty of people you hear where they're like, oh, you know, when he was with me, he didn't do anything, but then he went and got a new girlfriend. He does all the things that I wanted him to do.
Yeah.
Like, and vice versa. You know,
Right.
women do the same thing. So it's like guys can use that to kind of vet the women. If you're if it's easy to be romantic towards her and it feels natural,
Right.
then that's probably a good woman for you, unless she starts, you know, doing something that throws that off. But that means that you are more invested in her and that you pay more attention to her and it'll be easier for you to love her.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I agree 100%. And a lot of guys would complain about kind of what I'm saying, well, you can't, that's not very good game, you know, but the thing about it is that
You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
if you're doing
Like,
it the right way, if you're being desperate and you're just being a nice guy and you're just like trying to people please, trying to get her validation, desperately getting her to like you, just showering her with compliments, right? Those are not thoughtful things, right?
Right.
It's just like flattery. Like, you know, people know when you're being flattering, when you're just throwing out compliments that you don't really have a depth of meaning to. That's why specific things, but actually connecting with the depth of your and expressing how a woman makes you feel. Those things, that is seduction for, you know, to seduce a woman. You know, you think about the Don Juan or the great, you know, famous seducers of time, womenizers. They treat women in this way, you know, and that's kind of a lost art. Like guys think now, oh, I'm just going to be like super cool and
jerk.
like, you know, be a jerk. And yeah, like I said, that method does that work, you know, some of the time.
Temporarily.
Temporarily. But a woman's not like, wow, he was so wonderful. I just can't, I got to tell all my friends about him. He's so amazing. A woman tells her friends, she's like, I don't know if he likes me or not. He's really hot, but he's like, you know, she's now telling a different story. She's trying to get the validation, not like, wow, amazed by this guy, that he's charming and whatnot. So yeah, so I think that's, you know, the key thing for guys on dating is to act like read the romance novel so you understand how it goes and don't worry about coming across as, you know, too much of a nice guy. Because if you have confidence and you do these things, it's not going to come across that way.
Yeah, I'll give a guy a tip to be thoughtful, but with game, right?
Okay.
This is my girl game coming out, but I'll give it to guys too because it's good for everybody. Like if you're using the dating apps, which a lot of people do, actually read their profile and open up with something about their profile or about one of their pictures.
Yeah.
That shows that you cared enough to look through that and get to know them a little bit.
Right.
Before you just straight up message them. And that's going to go further with women because women know at this point that men are just swipe yes on everybody.
Yeah.
So if you open with like, hey, what's up? Or like, wow, you're really hot or something, like she's already like, you know, kind of lost interest already. But if you open with something about her profile or like, oh, I don't know who's cuter, you or your dog or something, you know, like because she has a dog picture, you know, like that will take you so much further than the genericness. And it is maybe not being romantic, but it's being thoughtful.
Right.
And like we talked about, like the thoughtfulness means a lot to women.
Right. Yeah,
so
it
that's a
positions
little
you.
tip.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. And I was thinking about too the Titanic scene, right? The Jack, paint me, you know, whatever it's like, or how
Paint me like one of your French girls.
That's it. Paint me like one of your French girls, right?
Or draw me.
I mean, that's considered a very romantic scene, right? In Titanic. Titanic. Why though? Because he is like
nervous.
And
you know, because he likes this woman.
Right. Right.
you know, and he's like, he doesn't want to mess it up. Like with the other women that he drew, it was probably like, you know, business, whatever, you know, like, I mean, it's a naked woman in front of a guy. So I'm sure he was somewhat interested, but he likes her for more than her body. And she asked her to do this thing and he's almost nervous, you know, because she even says something about him being nervous.
Right.
It's because she means more to him and there's more on the line and he wants to encompass her in the way he envisions her.
Exactly. Right. So there's a lot of thought in this thoughtfulness and this idea of like the focus being on her.
Right.
You know, women want the focus to be on them. That's why women get so upset when guys are looking at other women, right? Because they want to be the center of they want to feel like the world stops for this man for her. You know, the world stops for her. Yeah.
Would a guy get mad if a woman's staring at another guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't happen as often, I would say.
Well, women aren't as visual creatures as men, but yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's on the dating side, the main thing is I was trying to think of it's hard to explain too. That's the thing I found is that it's hard to teach a guy how to be romantic on a date because a lot of guys will take that and then they'll be like gushing, like, I just told this girl I'm
ready to have children with her and start a family on the first date.
I think I'm in love with her. You know, it's like, but the reason why that doesn't work is because there's not enough depth. Like if you're just suddenly in love with this girl and there's not any depth behind it, like if you're professing your love for her, or how beautiful she, you know, it's like
it
what do you?
It doesn't feel like it's about her.
Right.
It feels like it's about you're just ready to settle down and do something, some hidden motive.
Right.
You know what I mean? It like. The romance should always be about the person.
Right.
Like, and not about like rushing into a relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, try to focus on things about her rather than things of like, oh, I could see our future together. Because even though that's not, let's get in a relationship, it's the same.
Yeah, she needs to think, I can see our future together.
Right.
You need to
focus
paint the picture of the future.
Right.
And then she's like, oh, I can see the future, right? So it's like you're romancing a girl. Instead of telling her, I can see our future together, you are giving her a taste of what it would be like to be with you.
Right.
We're going to travel. We're going to that's why women are attracted to kind of your lifestyle to a bit, or the things you talk about. Oh, I love to travel.
Right. Or that you'll pay attention to her.
Right.
And that you'll admire her for not just her looks, but other things about her.
Right. Yeah.
Like it should be about who she is when you're complimenting her romantic wise when you're dating. It shouldn't be about like our future until you guys date enough where you guys are moving towards actually dating. Then you can be more of like, you know, romantic in the way of the relationship. Like, you know, I see us together and, you know, that sort of thing, but not on the first dates.
Yeah.
So
well, let's talk about a little bit in the relationship part of it, right? So,
well, that's where I feel like a lot of people are like, it goes, because like a lot of people, they're like, we had the romance in the beginning and then it's gone. And that's for multiple reasons.
Yeah. And I think the biggest one is taking each other for granted to a degree. So it's like a guy, and women do it too, but a guy generally is where the complaint is that he got the woman gifts, he took her to nice restaurants, he gave her compliments, he like, you know, gave her a massage. You know, it was like he was very caring and seductive and very patient with her when they were first dating. And then now they're in the relationship and he's watching the football game or playing Xbox and ignoring her, forgets the birthdays and doesn't take her out on a date, doesn't treat her like a lady, like he's still romancing her, right? Like he still hasn't got her yet. And that's, I think the key of it is, if you can think of it, if you're in a relationship, that means, hey, you got that far good. So now that means you have the skills to go back and say, what if I didn't have my partner? Right? What would I do in order to
Or what should I do
her?
to keep her?
Well,
you know?
Yeah.
Like, not like you're doing it just to keep her, but like, you know, what if, you know, she loses interest? And I'm not saying to do it because of that. Like, it's complicated because I think you do need to be like, I care so much about this person, and I have then and I do now, that I need to continue to show them that in this way that makes them feel loved.
Yeah. Well, and what I think in my head, okay, is I constantly think, okay, how can I give you the best life that I could possibly get? Like, what things could I do today? What things could I do that would brighten your day or make you feel loved or feel like, because maybe I'm just crazy and just, but I think in my head, like, I'm dramatic, but like, I think in my head, I'm like, this is her one life, her only life. And she's like, if she doesn't experience these things now, if you don't give them to her, no one will, because you're married. So like, you'll be gypping a person of the thing that they could have had and they'll never get if you don't do it. Right. So I up the stakes in my mind, because I'm like, this is not just a day or a week or a year that's passing by. This is a life and experience that will not be had if I do not step up and do these things. So that's how I think of it, is like, I don't want to deprive you of the amazing love. I want you to have the most amazing love that you could possibly have in your life, right? And most amazing experiences. And so
if I do that.
But if I have that mindset, then I'm thinking of those things. Then it's like, it's small things. It's things that, I'm like, oh, I could do this, and it would make you happy or make you feel good, right? Whereas I think what ends up happening is a lot of guys end up being like, if I do the dishes, she'll have sex with me.
Yeah.
Right? And so
or take out the trash, or
and then it becomes
laundry.
Actually not romantic, the opposite of romantic, because it becomes transactional. I'm looking to bargain with you, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a upfront bargain, it's a covert contract. So So I think in the relationship, for the man, he needs to really be thinking about, how can I make her day better? How can I do things that she's gonna, I'm thinking of, when I hear you say something, this concert or this, I make a note. I have a list of things, sometimes, or I have a mental note at least, or I might send myself an email to go and research this thing or go look up this thing because you said something about this thing, what I'm saying? So, because I know that, and because I think part of the thing too is, it's like, everyone knows this, is that if someone does something that you would like without you having to ask for it, if they read your mind, if it feels like they read your mind, that's kind of the best feeling ever. It makes you feel the most loved, the most cared for, right? So it's like, no one can really read your mind, but there's hints being dropped all the time. And we always get upset when people don't pick up on our hints, but we feel great when people pick up on our hints that we didn't even try to hint. You know what I mean? That's
better than